The Arizona Cardinals are heading towards what is one of the most pivotal points of the Jonathan Gannon era. It is no longer, let's just give them time. You've had your time. You've had your time for this for this Arizona Cardinals team to develop. 2 years under your belt. I saw a tweet this morning. Turning things around in the NFL doesn't usually take 3 years. But let's just kind of go through something really quickly. If anything, you can argue that the Arizona Cardinals have taken too much time to turn around. Now, I wouldn't necessarily subscribe to that narrative, but you can make the argument. Denver, with a second-year coach and a rookie quarterback, playoffs. Washington, and a first-year coach with a rookie quarterback, playoffs. Chargers with a first-year head coach, playoffs. Houston, with a second-year head coach and second-year quarterback, playoffs for the second year in a row. Next year is Gannon's third and Kyler's seventh year. No excuses. Kyler is what he is at this point. You're not moving on from him. There is legitimately no better options for this team at this point in their Kyler Murray tenure. There's none. No better options. You can go after Sam Darnold. You're not allocating another, $50 million to the position. But what you can do is understand that you are at a pivotal point in this Arizona Cardinals season. In this Arizona Cardinals tenure, Jonathan Gannon, Monti Ossenfort, Kyler Murray. You have to make smart additions, but even more so, the way to fix this Cardinals team is not by throwing money at free agency. Remember years ago, the Patriots threw gobs of money at a bunch of players. It was Jalen Mills. It was Hunter Henry. It was Jonnu Smith. It was just big name player after big name player. Free agency is fool's gold. Ask yourself this. If a team has a really good player, why would they let them go? Well, they can't afford them. Okay. There is 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 max players in free agency that you have to go, or that you just can't afford. Most of the time, even that, usually just franchise tag the guy. But free agency isn't built off of all these players that are just leaving their teams because they just feel like that's the best thing for them. So be careful requesting Monti Ossenfort to spend gobs of money at players. And this is what I'm getting at. Monti Ossenfort, I actually think, has done a pretty good job as the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals. I understand people could disagree at times, but last year's draft class is still TBD, but for the most part has been fairly effective. Fairly, right? More effective than anything Steve Keim has done. And then last year, pretty much every single draft class was great for this Arizona Cardinals team. Every single player in that draft class was great for this Arizona Cardinals team. And so now you're moving into year 3. Kind of a crossroads year for Monti Ossenfort as well. You don't help build this team and elevate this team through free agency. I think that largely comes through trades. What this Arizona Cardinals team has to do is take care of their own people. There is, and I've been trying to wrap my mind around this yesterday, and I wish I would have been better prepared and put this, which I always am prepared, but I should have put this up on the screen for you, so I apologize. But Kyzir White looked like he was saying goodbye to this Arizona Cardinals team. Goodbye to this team, meaning looks like he's out the door. Just kind of like thanking the Arizona Cardinals fan base, thanking the Arizona Cardinals franchise, and Mac Wilson and Budda Baker are under it, just kind of spewing their 2 cents about this team or about Kyzir White. And I kind of did a little bit of sleuthing because I had my own opinion. The Arizona Cardinals should absolutely keep Kyzir White on this team. One, because they have the money to do so. It's not like you're breaking the bank. And a guy like Kyzir White, who's been a pretty serviceable linebacker for this team, you feel like you'd want to keep those players around. I understand wanting to make a improvement from at that position. I get that. I would even want the Cardinals to do that as well. But you look at the landscape, and Kyzir White's not going to cost you anything, and he's been here since day one of the rebuild. Sure, I mean, has he gotten every single takeaway? Has he been Brian Urlacher? No. Is he a middle-of-the-road linebacker? Yes. Is he a leader? Yes. It's really all I care about. Is he a locker room guy? You betcha. That's a guy that I want in this locker room. I'll be honest with you. If these few players are not on this Arizona Cardinals team next year, I will be a little disappointed in Monti Ossenfort, barring what I see that they do in free agency. But if you are Monti Ossenfort, LJ Collier, Roy Lopez, Kyzir White, and Evan Brown have to be number one priorities for this Arizona Cardinals team. You have to make those guys priorities. All of those guys are good players. LJ Collier, former first-round pick, came over here and had some success in this Cardinals defensive system. And Jonathan Gannon has done a pretty good job just making sure that these guys are best what they can do at their position. But more than just him, Roy Lopez as well is a guy on this team that you cannot afford to let go. You are not in the business of letting go of good defensive linemen, good attacking the quarterback pass rushers. Roy Lopez going from the Texans over to the Arizona Cardinals, he has also got to be a point of emphasis. Kyzir White, a leader type of player that you just want on this team. I'm not in the business of shooing away any good players on this defense either. So as much as everyone is looking towards free agency and spending gobs of money at free agency and rooting for what is Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon to go get the shiny toy on free agency, I cautiously ask you to temper your expectations a bit. Free agency is fool's gold. We saw it with the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple years ago when they spent all this money. They went to the playoffs once, did not sniff it again. The Patriots a couple years ago spent the most money of free agency, and what happened? They didn't make the playoffs. This league has always been about drafting talent and keeping that talent. And LJ Collier, Kyzir White, Roy Lopez, and Evan Brown all fit that mold. Important guards, important linemen, important players in the front seven. I understand wanting to make improvements, but if you're Monti Ossenfort, you can't let those guys walk out the door. In a team that is deficient of a lot of talent, you have to keep your talent in-house. So there's that. Also, Monti Ossenfort has done a fantastic job at securing guys and leaders of this team. It's why I'm very skeptical of them just letting go of a guy like Kyzir White, just letting him walk. But I think more so to me, Budda Baker and James Conner and getting these extensions done early and not even letting them test free agency, that shows a different type of priority, right? The Arizona Cardinals' number one priority this offseason, and it's not close, is signing Trey McBride to an extension. He was the, really at times, lone bright spot of this offense. I understand James Conner was good, and Kyler Murray had times where he shined, and Marvin Harrison Jr., although it felt like there was a lot of meat left on the bone, he was still a pretty good rookie, all things considered. Trey McBride is a blank check tight end. In a league where tight ends are a cheat code because they don't cost you as much as wide receivers, but they're still as effective, or you could argue more effective than wide receivers at times, do not piss off Trey McBride. Do not lowball Trey McBride. You have the money. This team is in the business of building leaders, of keeping homegrown talent in the building. So let's not have fun with this. Let's not toy around. Let's not pussyfoot with Trey McBride as the tight end of the future, as the potential Ring of Honor guy for this team. So, number one priority, go sign Trey McBride. Get it done early. Get it done often. Blank check him. The conversation should be, hey, how much do you want? And then you can decide where it goes and when he gets it and signing bonuses and things of that nature. But I just want to make it very clear. Trey McBride has to be here for the foreseeable future. Call it a Steve Keim parting gift, if you will, given how terrible he was, but did hit on a guy like Trey McBride.